Sure, watching football is fun, but it's more entertaining when you have some action on the games. Guys, you've heard me talking about this for weeks, and some of you are still on the sidelines. Whether you're an expert or rookie, you should be betting at MyBookie. If you're the kind of guy that likes to bet a little and win a lot, like playing the numbers on roulette, and can create a big parlay, pick 3 teams to win, and if you hit all 3, you could turn $100 into $600 like that. That's a snap, dude. There's so much to bet on. College basketball tip-offs with Kentucky Duke and Michigan State Kansas. The Cowboys and Eagles play what could be an NFL playoff elimination game. MyBookie is the one bet I know you'll be happy with all year. I recommend these guys because I really trust them. MyBookie has been in business for years. They've got great online reviews and their mobile site is easy to use. Easy as F. Sign up this week and MyBookie will give you a 50% deposit bonus to jumpstart your bankroll. It's a great way to bank even more money when you win. Also, make sure to follow at BetMyBookie on Twitter. They personally respond to every mention and DM. Not to mention that they've given away more than $10,000 in free money to their followers this football season. Fuck, dude. Exclamation point. You'll be the first to know as soon as new odds and props are posted. Don't miss out on one of the best weeks to bet on sports this year. Log on to MyBookie right now and use promo code DEEP and to get 50% deposit bonus. That's promo code DEEP. You play, you win, you get paid. Job wow. What's up, Stokers of Stoke Nation? This is Chad Kroger coming in, and I am currently not with my compadre, Jean Thomas, because he and I are both out of town. We were unable to record a new episode for you guys because we're both out of town for the holidays, but we have compiled a number of Paul Walker movie reviews that we are going to put into this episode for you guys to enjoy. These are from all of last year and from our Patreon. So hope you guys enjoy the movie reviews, and we will see you next week. Stay stoked.
What's with deep? We're going deep. Chad and JT.
Just for you guys is a movie review of Paul Walker's Joyride, which is we watched last night just to get a refresher. And JT, you want to kick off some thoughts?
Yeah, so Joyride is a horror movie where Paul Walker plays Lewis, a college student who has pretended for years to be best friends with this girl, Venna, played by Lily Sobieski, when he actually wants to be her boyfriend. He goes to school in California. She's in Boulder. So he rips up his plane ticket, gets the cash back for it, buys a car, cool car, 1971 Chevy, because as Roger Ebert says, all cars from the 1980s look nerdy. And he drives to pick her up and go across the country with her. On his way there, he gets a call from his mom that his ne'er-do-well brother, Fuller, played really convincingly by Steve Zahn, is getting out of jail in Salt Lake City. So he picks him up, and before they pick up the girl, and they end up fucking with a guy on a CB radio, which is like kind of like a pre-internet walkie-talkie that was in trucks. And Paul Walker's character, Lewis, does a not-so-convincing impression of a girl who he names Candy Cane, and he tricks a crazy-sounding truck driver named Rusty Nail into going into their motel room neighbor's room because the guy in that room is a really obnoxious racist, and so Steve Zahn wants to fuck with him. And you get the feeling that Steve Zahn's character Fuller is always getting into trouble and fucking with people, like he can't help himself. And then that guy ends up dying. The truck driver, Rusty Nail, realizes that they played a trick on him, starts fucking with them. They pick up the girl still, and then they basically have to deal with this like menacing truck driver in his huge fucking truck who keeps fucking with them and putting their lives in danger.
Mm-hmm. A thrilling ride.
Yeah.
Super thrilling.
It's an intense movie for sure.
And it's a different side of Paul.
Right.
That they really tried to show a different side of Paul in this that, you know, honestly, I wasn't as stoked on this side of him because he just wasn't the kind that I would want to be like.
I think that's really interesting. Like, let's first talk about this movie in terms of the Paul Walker canon. Yeah. So, like, up until this point in his career, he'd been in like She's All That, Meet the Deedles, The Skulls, and he's normally playing and Lance Harbor and Varsity Blues, and he's typically playing like the hottest dude in school that every chick wants to be with.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, he plays kind of like a kind of like nerdy, can't say what he wants, sort of kind of weakling almost.
Yeah.
Which isn't really natural for a guy who's got that face.
Like a dude who's constantly in the friend zone.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, like Paul's always in the friend zone. And what's this character's name?
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis is always in the friend zone. And you're like, really? Because it looks like he's always in the bone zone.
Is he getting in the friend zone from like Kate Upton? Like there's only about like 2 girls in the world who could put him in the friend zone.
Yeah, how hard are these girls that are friending him? 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, it's like Lewis, you can't be such a bitch all the time. And then he's just like, you look at him and you're like, that guy's a bitch? Because it looks like he can race cars.
And then Paul did play him as kind of not charming. You know what I mean? Like you were like, man, Paul, are you like, it almost felt like I was like worried about Paul as an actor, not as a character. I was like, Paul, why aren't you like just talking more convincingly?
Yeah.
But then I realized that's the character. Like the character isn't a very self-assured person.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was, but I mean, it's cool. You get to see his range.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally, I bet he looked at it and he's like, this is not something that I usually play. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think he almost would have been better in the Steve Zahn part.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And then I think in terms of the Paul Walker canon, where do you rate it? Like, is it in like the top 10%? Like, where does it fall? In terms of the Paul of it, not the movie itself, but like the Paul Walker part.
One of the lower.
One of the least iconic, I would say.
For sure. I would say in terms of, I guess this is our second one, in terms of like Stoke meter with Blue Crush and this.
Into the Blue.
Stoke meter with Into the Blue and this, I'd say Into the Blue made me way more stoked. Because that was just the lifestyle that Paul exemplified, and it was just, you saw it on film. And then in this, you're just like, but now he's a weakling? I wasn't into it.
He fit more naturally into that world.
Yeah.
You could see his jiu-jitsu, you could see his swimming, you could see his tan, you could see his abs, you could see his hot girlfriend.
Yeah, and in this, he was just kind of like a dude who couldn't lay pipe, and you're like, all right.
Yeah. And then you never see the bad guy. You just hear his voice.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see his truck.
Yeah.
And it's scary too. Like it's really like aesthetically well directed by John Dahl, who's a good director.
Yeah.
But then there's just sometimes where you're like they're running through a cornfield and the truck's chasing after them. And then you're like, would it be that hard to get away from an 18-wheeler?
Yeah.
Like if you zigzag, you've pretty much defeated it. Like it's not easy to maneuver a 20-ton truck.
Yeah. That was one thing that got me. Is like this guy's really, he's got handles on this truck.
Very nimble.
Yeah. Did he take off like the back part, the trailer? I don't even remember. Because that would make more sense.
I think he did, but it's still a big ass fucking ride.
Yeah.
In the end, in the final scene, I think the trailer was still on it.
Yeah.
I think it was still on it too when it ran through the ice truck.
Yeah.
What's also interesting is that he has multiple chances to kill them.
Yeah.
Who he's so pissed off at, but he doesn't. But then he kills other people who are like in the way of him fucking with them, like without any screen time or thought.
Well, I like that because he was just trying to torture them a little bit more.
Right, it's more sadistic that way.
He always had the upper hand.
Yeah, he's always 2 steps ahead of them.
Like he was showing them. He's like, I just killed that dude, so don't cross me, but I will. I'm just gonna keep fucking with you. And they're like, oh please no. And he's like, fuck you, dudes. Candy cane.
It's a really good point that it's like that it's more about him playing with them.
Yeah.
The way they played with him.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine having your feelings that hurt over being like catfished essentially.
Well, what I was wondering is like, is this dude, is he just constantly fucking with people, or is this just like, this is the one thing that set him off?
I think from the way he was so good at fucking with them, it felt like you need a lifetime of experience to be that far ahead of your victims.
Like, damn, this guy's crafty.
Yeah, those aren't the first people he's killed.
And you saw his face too at the end.
Yeah.
You're like, this guy looks like the alien from Men in Black.
Yeah.
Like not only is he like a mastermind of like fucking with people, but he looks like complete shit.
Yeah. He's a big fat burly ass.
Yeah, like doesn't bathe. But yeah, I mean, as a movie, I'd say it was entertaining. I got a little bit scared, which I love. I love getting like the adrenaline going through me and getting scared as fuck. But in terms of a Paul movie, not my favorite.
So you like horror movies?
I do. You don't.
I hate horror movies.
Yeah.
I like sad movies though.
Yeah, and I don't.
You hate sad
I
movies.
hate them. I think there's no point in watching them.
Scary movies, like, they just fucked with me too hard as a kid. I had an over stimulated imagination. I slept in my parents' bed like almost every night. I slept in my brother's bed until I was 12 because I was too scared to sleep by myself.
Yeah.
And my parents took me to a psychiatrist to help me with my nightmares.
Yeah.
In short, I was a giant pussy.
Yeah, I know. I love adrenaline. So any chance where I can get scared, or I love roller coasters. I love anything that makes me scared. I'm fucking stoked on.
Yeah, I get more adrenaline from a good family conflict in a well acted drama.
You get
I'm like, oh, this strife between this father and son is so familiar and authentic. Wow, I feel titillated.
That twist in Family Stone was just
where the mom's sick.
Yeah,
that movie's my jam. I love that fucking movie.
I would say that with my family, we were all so pissed. We're like, this was such a feel good movie, and then they dropped this bullshit on us.
Oh, really?
We were so mad.
Oh, interesting.
We were like, how the fuck could they do that?
Oh, really? So you were enjoying it up until that point?
Yeah.
Like, just like the comedy of like...
Yeah, like I want to see Christmas and have fun. They're like, oh no, actually the mom's gonna die, and you're like, what?
A lot of Christmas movies are tinged with that kind of sadness.
Yeah. Like this existential.
Yeah, holidays bring that out in people.
Yeah.
There needs to be some real... Yeah.
What a weird time.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
Did you what'd you think about I remember I asked my friend Greg, who's like a horror movie aficionado, I'm like, what'd you think about Joyride? He's like, not that good. I was like, why? He's like, not a big enough body count.
I like that. Yeah, I mean the scares weren't that high up for me. Like I was never really like that scared. Cuz he was always in a truck.
Yeah.
It's not like you could like walk into like a like where you're like walking into a room and then like a demon like moves a chair. That's scary.
Right.
But you're like you can hear the truck from like a really long. You're like he's coming. It's like still a mile, but
yeah, And they could have just stayed on the interstate. They're on like every ramshackle road in America, and they're going to like these deserted gas stations. You're like, it's like those like gas stations on the way back from Vegas where there's like 40 things around them. There's like an In-N-Out and an Amco and like a Nordstrom's, and they're all connected. I'm like, just go there.
Yeah.
Like, why are you like stay at a Hilton? There's no way he's going to be able to hurt you at a Hilton.
Yeah. Like go to like a Nordstrom rack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they kept going to these like isolated like shitholes that like were part of like mining towns from the 1860s. I'm like, yeah, he's got you're on his turf now.
Yeah, let's stay in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Laramie and stuff. They even make it to Laramie, which is like.
Is that where do they end up when I don't know when it all comes to a head?
I don't know, the same motel. They're just driving in circles. Yeah, because they did get away at that one point, and they're like, "Oh, we're free," but they're still like near there. And he's like, "Candy cane," and you're like,
"Candy cane."
Why don't I just go like L.A. or something?
Candy cane. Where's Candy cane? Oh, you thought that'd be funny, huh? To mess with me.
I like how he doesn't understand like why people would mess with him, but he's a murderer.
Yeah.
He's like, why would you ever want to hurt somebody's feelings?
They're like, because we thought it was funny.
He's like, oh yeah, it's not so funny now that I've killed 3 people.
Yeah.
Taught you a lesson.
You're like, yeah, you went above and beyond, partner.
Hey, Candy cane. This is Paul Walker. It was a joke. And I'd be like, that is a way better present than Candy cane.
Yeah. What's Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Paul. Paul, a huge fan. Loved you in Varsity Blues. Yeah, you're great. Go to Lance Harbor.
Paul Walker, now I just want to hang out with you.
Hey, what are you guys doing? That was a funny joke.
Yeah.
Sorry I killed that guy. You guys want to go grab a brew?
Yeah, Paul.
The one scene that I thought was the weirdest was after Rusty Nail had ripped that guy's jaw out and put him the obnoxious racist and put him in the hospital. He was they like get on the CB radio with him and they're like, "You're a sick fuck. Like we were fucking with you, you fucking piece of shit." And you're like, why would you antagonize him?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just never talk to him again at that point?
Yeah.
And just move on?
Yeah. I would turn off the radio.
Yeah. They're like, no, we need to tell him how we feel. I'm
Yeah.
like, you think you're going to like really get your point across to this psycho?
Yeah, and then Paul's like, "Look, man, we're sorry. We're sorry." It's like, it's not like he can track you. Just fucking turn it off.
So Roger Ebert thought that the way he was always one step ahead of them is that when he gave them back the CB radio, he put a tracking device and a listening device on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is like so smart of him to think of that, but I'm like, maybe you're just smarter than the screenwriters.
Yeah.
And you added that in
I think they
to like the movie more.
I think they would point that out.
They should have revealed that at some point.
Yeah.
That would have actually made the movie kind of come together better if that
Yeah.
was like revealed at the end.
Yeah.
But I guess they wanted the bad guy to feel like mystical, you know what I mean, and like all powerful.
Yeah. Even though he was a slobbering, overall wearing
Idiot.
Yeah.
I'm Rusty Nail. Oh, you thought that was funny, huh? To promise me poon and then take it away.
I mean, that just goes to show you how upset guys get when they don't get laid and they think they're going to get laid.
Yeah.
He killed 10 people and drove through like 5 cities. Like
Yeah.
literally drove through them.
Candy cane. Candy cane. Where you at, Candy cane? Look, man, we're sorry. No, we're not sorry. You're a sick fuck.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna come kill you now.
Like if you and I were in the car and you started talking like that to a psycho killer who had just
Yeah.
proven he's capable of murder,
Yeah.
I'd be like, Chad, take the heat out of it, dude. I think we're
Yeah.
just going to take this one as an L.
Why don't we let's go back to California.
Yeah, we're going to turn around and just live somewhere else now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not be.
And they also
lame.
just never try to fight him. And there's 2 of them and just one rusty nail. I
Yeah.
was like, just run up to the truck window with like a big fucking mag light, flashlight, just start bopping him in the head with it.
Yeah. Candy cane.
So overall, I think we have to say that in our Paul rankings for films, we're going to put Into the Blue ahead of Joyride.
Yes.
And
That's it.
and then we good?
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I genuinely don't.
All right. Well, that is it for our film review of Joyride. Check it out if you can. What up, Patreons? This is Chad and JT coming in hot with a new movie review, Varsity Blues, which is, came out in 1997.
I think so, yeah.
97, starring James Vanderbeek, Paul Walker, The Ledge, Scott Kahn. Do you know who the ladies are?
Amy Smart and Ali Lauder.
Amy Smart, Ali Lauder. Boom.
Dude, that's actually a good place to start because one of the most interesting things I think about like movies, especially when you see them when you're super young, is the way they can make you believe the archetypes that each character represents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you watch Varsity Blues, you're like, oh, James Vanderbeek is the smart, misunderstood athlete. Paul Walker is the all-American stud who life comes easy to, which I mean,
Yeah.
Paul could play that in any movie. That's just what he
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
But what was most, and like, you know, Scott Kahn is the party guy.
Yeah.
And then you see them in other movies and you still think of them as the roles they played, you know? But what was most like Amy Smart and Ali Lauder played like the cheerleader, kind of like the town hot girl who's going to use her hotness to get out. And Amy Smart plays kind of like the more like emo, like smart, like bookish girl. But Amy Smart to me is actually hotter than Ali Lauder.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the movie when I was really young, I was like, oh, Ali Lauder's hotter because she played the hot chick.
Yeah.
But Amy Smart is actually hotter, but I didn't know that because she didn't play the hot chick.
Yeah.
The movie didn't tell me she was hot, so I didn't know she was hot.
Yeah. She is hotter. For
Right?
Sure. For sure.
Dude, Joe, my roommate, was like, oh, get out of here.
He didn't agree?
No, he was like, Ali Lauder.
What?
Yeah.
Joe, come on, get your head out of your ass, dog. Yeah, dude. That's an excellent point because the whole time, like when James Vanderbeek was getting pulled to Ali Lauder, I was like, dude, what are you doing? You got Amy Smart.
Yeah.
You know. But that's an interesting point that you thought Amy Lauder was the hotter one
When I was a
back
kid,
then.
yeah.
Yeah. But then as you grew older, you're like, wait, Amy's more dynamic
Yeah.
and hotter.
Well, just hotter, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I think about her character. Although I liked Ali Lauder's character in the movie, too.
Yeah.
Well, I forget what her name, Darcy.
Yeah.
Darcy's whipped cream bikini.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the whipped cream bikini? I mean, that's probably the most iconic scene from the movie.
Yeah. I was impressed at how quickly she put it on.
Lightning fast.
Yeah.
Well, she's smart. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. She had good accuracy, pretty artistic.
And I didn't understand it until I rewatched it for the purposes of reviewing it,
Yeah.
that she puts on the whipped cream bikini because then you eat the whipped cream off.
Yeah.
I never understood that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when I used to picture it as a kid, I was like such an animal. I was like, you just wipe away the whipped cream and then you get to work on the real stuff. That was my thinking as a 6-year-old.
What if she put it in her ass? Would you still eat it?
Yeah,
I would.
I mean, I absolutely would.
I would.
But I just don't want to recommend that to everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, so let's maybe talk about the movie as a whole. What's your overall feelings on it?
I dig it. It's a fun movie. I like it.
I think
It takes you through all the emotions. I really felt for Paul in this one. I felt for his knee. They're like Paul. What's his character's name?
Lance Harbor.
Lance found his calling in coaching. I'm like, I don't think he did.
Well, it is tough as a Paul Walker fan to be like, he kind of got
Bone.
short shifted the most out of everybody.
He's like, no, I'll be a coach now, and you're like, okay.
But if he's a coach like Bud Kilmer, who wins 23 division titles and a couple state titles, I mean, that's still pretty good, right?
That'd be cool, But I just want Paul to shine. So I'm not gonna lie here, Stokers. I kind of felt like I wanted to just like once Paul got injured and James Vanderbeek stepped in, they're like, no, he's the hero. I kind of wanted to be like, all right, shut this shit off.
Yeah, you were out.
Yeah, I'm like, James Vanderbeek, your hair does not even match. You're kind of a bitch. Paul shines like a golden, but that's good storytelling, I guess.
His head makes up 40% of his body, Vanderbeek.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, I love this movie.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I don't think there's a bad scene in the movie. Every scene is entertaining.
Yeah.
Like every scene, like the serious scenes are entertaining. The conflict is interesting. The jokes are like funny. I mean, there's some stuff that's at a time and it probably shouldn't have been okay then. Like Tweeter's character, while very fun, is a sociopath and also basically suggests that he's down with rape.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting
I don't want to dwell on it too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not I guess those are the times, He's like, yeah, all you need are a couple of Vicodins, some Percocets, and you'll be fucking in no time. And you're like, Scott,
you belong in jail. You're a bad person.
yeah,
Yeah.
holster that.
Yeah, it's rough. But overall, I mean, it's just and the football scenes are so exciting with the hits and the music. I mean,
Yeah.
I mentioned it in other platforms, but the My Hero by the Foo Fighters. They come in and block that punt.
When Paul gave a speech and everyone cheered, I was like, yeah, that's how it should be.
What'd you think about Moxon's finishing speech?
I dug it.
Kilmer said, 48 minutes for the next 48 years of our lives. I say, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
24 minutes for the next 24 minutes of our lives.
Yeah.
We have a chance to play like gods.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It is good writing.
And I think it really speaks to the times now, especially because people are getting so injured in football these days. And, it's like all that stuff is kind of coming to light. These coaches want to overlook it, but I don't know how common that is now. But, the movie, it dates well.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time in terms of like the toll that football puts on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, because concussions weren't. The NFL was denying that concussions existed at that point.
Yeah, and Billy Bob was just taking beatings.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, get back in there. And he's like, I can't even see.
Yeah, the villain Bud Kilmer is so evil.
He plays it so well.
You really believe him.
Yeah. He plays that role so well.
You really feel like he runs that town.
Yeah.
It's like Gene Hackman in The Quick and the Dead, too. You really feel like they own every inch of that town.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you are the dumbest smart kid I know. Oop-de fucking oop. When he doesn't like the offense that James Vanderbeek audibles to.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting you never learn anything about his life, Bud Kilmer's. Like, does he have a wife and kids?
Yeah. That is interesting.
And they're like, no one ever saw him again after James Vanderbeek basically has like a power struggle for the team and wins at the end. Like the team will only play for Vanderbeek or Moxon. They won't play for Kilmer. So Kilmer just leaves. And then in the closing narration, Jonathan Moxon's character goes, and no one ever saw Bud Kilmer again. I'm like, well, who the fuck sold his house?
Yeah. He just walks down the road.
Yeah. Like, so he just got the fuck out of there and then like, where'd the bills go to and shit?
Or did he kill himself?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what fucking happened. Dude, good fucking call.
Bud Kilmer ate his shotgun.
That was in the original one, and everybody's like, Jesus, dude, way to send him out on a bummer.
Yeah.
Just say he disappeared. You don't have to know what happened to him.
Yeah. And Billy Bob was an interesting character. Very emotional.
You thought he was a pussy, huh?
No, I dug it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I that scene where he's drinking the whiskey, he's crying.
Because he believes in it.
Yeah.
He's not Moxon, who's like this smart kid who has another way out. Like, he wants these things to be good.
Yeah.
Moxon's so comfortable with everything being shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, Moxon, he was kind of he could be frustrating at times. Like, why are you reading the book
Yeah,
during
when you're
the game?
Yeah, you can't read when you get home.
Yeah.
But I think
I did think that was kind of their like, hey, yeah, no, this guy, he's different. He reads during the games. Yeah.
But you could see a kid like that thinking he's better than his surroundings, you know?
Yeah.
But then once he gets seduced by it, once he starts getting the rewards of it,
Yeah.
he loves it.
Yeah. Once he gets that whipped cream bikini.
What was your feelings on like how his girlfriend criticized him as he got like more successful? Because she's like, he gives like one douchey speech and she's like, you sound like a douche. I'm like, go easy on the fucking guy. He's adjusting.
Yeah, I thought there was a lack of empathy there.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see Amy Smart in that position. You know, it's like, how would you do? You know?
Yeah, what's the right thing to say?
Yeah, and I don't think he would come at her with like you sound like a stuck-up bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
You just be supportive of her. You'd be like, babe, like, oh, you're the biggest, what's the most popular female sport, I guess? Tennis, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys, but it's tennis.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm apologizing, but I think it's probably tennis. If my girlfriend was the best tennis player in the country and she gave a speech where she was like, I just want to thank God, but I knew she wasn't the most God-fearing, yeah, maybe I'd bust her balls. But she comes down hard on him.
Yeah. But maybe that's what he needs. Keep him in check.
I feel like I literally just talked myself into like the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, like, knot ball. Like I just tied myself into knots with words. Like I was like, I'm going to put myself in prison with these words.
I don't know, dude. You know, it was yeah, I think she needed to take a step back.
Yeah, just go easy. I mean, she's
Yeah.
dealing with a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Why don't
I
you-
think maybe she was just scared. She knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Whipped cream bikinis were going to come in his face.
And I did like it when she was tough on him when he was like, am I just going to go out there and win this game and then, you know, endorse everything I'm against? What if my younger brother plays for him? She's like, you want a wham burger with those whine cries or whatever she says to him? She's like, you're whining. I was like, he's not whining that much. I was like, it is. But I did like that she challenged him and wouldn't accept. Like, okay, here's what I'm saying. Oh, man. Maybe she was being that hard on him because she knew he had that greatness in him, so she wouldn't accept less than that.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So she was like, I hear you being a douche, and I know how special you are, so I'm not going to let you get away with that.
Yeah. Rise up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. What else about it? What were your favorite scenes?
Lance's speech.
What were you? Oh, when he's at the rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lance's speech, and that's it.
Wait, you didn't like this? You didn't like the? You didn't like this scene where he throws the football off his dad's nose?
I like that too.
Where the dads are fucking going in on each other like
Yeah.
freaking Real Housewives.
The dads were so annoying. I'm like, dude, how old are you guys?
Yeah, and he's like, my son should be the fucking starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And then he fucking calls out the kid. He's like, you think you're better than my boy?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, these dads are out of control.
That's my boy. I wonder if that'd be interesting to show. Maybe if they do like a little prequel or something, they show the dads. What if the dads
good
were
movie.
like James Vanderbeek? You know, they were kind of like,
Rivals.
this is kind of dumb, you know. But then they grow up and they're like, that's my boy. You know, do you become that?
Dude, that's a really sophisticated point. I totally agree. I think
Yeah.
like a lot of things I used to make fun of, I've like turned into a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I used to make fun of people who are like sentimental about like how great their parents were and stuff. I do that all the time now.
Yeah.
Like I can't even fake that that's not who I am.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That they could have put that in Varsity Blues, like just a scene about that. Like he could
Yeah.
have been like, I used to pick on football when I was your age too, and now all I can think about is all the good times I fucking left on the table because I was too afraid to go for what I wanted. And then he'd
Yeah.
be like, whoa, because they kind of make the dad just a ridiculous character. Like the
Yeah.
dad almost never makes a good point in the whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the dad is just absurd. He's like young. He's in maturity level. He's younger than Vanderbeek.
Dude, it's a great point, man.
Yeah.
It's not realistic.
No.
How stupid the dad is.
Yeah.
He's just like, because like Vanderbeek literally goes up to me, he could be like, hey, my best friend like Dylan just killed himself, and his dad's like, son, why are you worried about that when you got Bingham on Friday? You're like, well, Are you trying to? Maybe that is football dads in Texas, but
Suicide? Why don't you start running suicides, bitch?
yeah, exactly. That's hilarious.
But it is a fire movie. You know, football movies are great. And Team Spirit. You know, I miss Team Spirit. There's something to Team Spirit camaraderie.
We got some here though.
Oh yeah. What am I talking about? We got Team Spirit.
But it's different though. It's not steeped in like hardcore like violence and like overcoming stuff.
It is overcoming stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes I don't want to talk, but we got to talk.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point, Bar.
Underrated aspect of the podcast game.
Yeah.
All right, is that it?
Yeah.
I think
Guys,
that was good.
thanks for joining us on our movie review of Varsity Blues. Thanks for being patrons. And stay stoked, guys. Later. What's up, patrons of Stoked Nation? This is Chad Kroger coming in with a fire movie review with my dog JT. What up?
What up, dudes?
So we got an excellent movie for you guys today. Do you want to announce it?
Running Scared.
Starring Paul Walker. Gritty Paul, dude. Gritty Paul. New
On
Jersey
the move,
Paul.
dude. Roger Ebert says he doesn't act in this movie because he never stands still. I mean, which it wasn't his choice, you know. He's just running. He's running. He's scared.
Running. Yeah. I'd be scared too. A lot of hardcore dudes coming after him.
I have to admit something up top, too. I did not watch it. I mean, I've seen it
Yeah.
10 years ago, but I crammed some YouTube clips from it in today
Okay.
of some vital scenes. They were the scenes that I remembered most, so I
Yeah.
wasn't surprised they were the scenes on YouTube.
So how much of it do you recall?
I think all of it.
All right, cool. Well, man, it's a far cry from typical Paul.
Yeah.
He really took a chance with this one, and you know what? I gotta say, the accent was fire at some points and then non-existent at others. But overall, I was rooting for Paul, and then
A perfect accent is boring.
yeah, because that's not real.
It's more fun if they mess up a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he's not really from wherever he's pretending to be from.
He was keeping us on his toes. He was like, what's that, Boston? And he's like, nah, New Jersey, kid. And I'm like, fucking Paul, you trickster.
Also, the editing, there's scenes where like he literally only says like, you motherfucker, you piece of shit, you asshole, you fucking jerk. And like that's like all he says for like 5 minutes because the movie's so chaotic and there's always so much crazy shit going on that dialogue actually kind of fits what's going on.
Yeah, I gotta say, I did not like that side of Paul. I like Paul when he's on an island and he's tan and he's broing down with Tyrese.
Yeah.
That's what I love. But I appreciate this side of him. I thought...
Because he's a good time guy, so we like to see him
Yeah.
having a good time.
And in this, he was having a bad time the entire time.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, Paul has bad times? That kind of sucks. But, and it was an interesting movie the way it was shot.
Oh, yeah. Like
Some
the
of the-
colors,
the
it's so
colors,
like
yeah.
blue and red. It's like,
Yeah.
they really like, were like, we want to make this dark and weird.
Yeah. I watched it with Caroline, and I was just like, this is a lot darker than I imagined, than I remembered.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the darkest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the tangents in the movie, if we can get into that. I mean, maybe we should tell the general plot first. Do you want to explain the story?
Yeah, so the movie opens with Paul and his squad of dudes. They get in a gunfight with these guys, and they emerge victorious after a few dick shots. And then they come out from the haze and they're like, man, that was intense, but thank you for blowing that guy's face off with the shotgun. Thank you for shooting that guy's dick off. And he's like, yeah, man, I got you. And then they realize the guys that they killed were all cops, and they're like, fuck. So the head guy, Tommy, gives Paul the guns. He's like, you get rid of these, take care of business. And Paul's like, yeah, you got it, Chief. He's like, yeah, I got it, Tommy. That was his accent. And so he goes to his house, and he goes home to eat dinner. He almost bones his wife. He starts boning her a little bit, and she's like, let's eat dinner. And he's like, all right, whatever, just, you look sexy. And then he goes to hide the guns in the basement. As he hides the guns in the basement, his son and his son's friend, they see him hide the guns. And his son's friend, I think, grabbed the gun because he has an abusive stepfather. You go over to the other friend, friend's house, Oleg, yeah, and his abusive stepfather is Russian, is like smoking crack, and things happen. They get in some kind of he hits the kid, Next thing you know, there's gunshots. Some of the bullets come into the other house and almost hit Paul and his family. He's like, "You motherfucker, I'm gonna fuck you up."
I remember this scene.
Yeah. And then he realizes it was Oleg who shot his stepdad. His stepdad didn't die. He just got shot in the shoulder. And he realizes Oleg took his gun. And he's like, man, I got to find this kid with this gun. I got to take these bullets out because the cops are going to identify it, and then I'm going to be fucked. So that starts the whole him running scared. And then basically it's just like a full-on chase. He's like trying to find this kid Oleg, and Oleg is getting all mischievous adventures. He gets he's walking along and he sees like a hooker getting beat by her pimp
Lester,
and he points the gun at Lester, and then the hooker hits the guy with a bottle, and then he's running around with the hooker, and then she gets arrested. Then he's running around again. Meanwhile, Paul's trying to find this gun, while the other crew of dudes that Paul was with, they're like starting to get suspicious. They're like, why are you acting so weird about this? And he's like, nothing, dude, it's fine, dude, or whatever the fuck the accent is. So stakes are raising because these guys are starting to realize that the gun that was used was the gun that they used in that shootout, and they could be fucked. So, and then Oleg, he's still trying to find Oleg, and then how much detail do I have to go in here? I don't know. Oleg and his son, they hide the gun somewhere, and then his son tells Paul, he's like, dude, I hid the gun in that toilet in the diner. He's like, why the fuck didn't you tell me now? And they go to the toilet, it's gone. Turns out the janitor took it. So now Paul's on a search to find the janitor. But then Oleg, somehow, because he's still running, he ends up in a van because he's hiding from these dudes. And the van turns out to be owned by a couple like pedophiles, these two creepy husband and wife, and they basically
this tangent was incredibly dark and not related to the general story at all.
They just wanted to make the movie even more fucked up.
Yeah, they're like, you think this is gritty?
Yeah.
What if the two most evil people in the world were videotaped for a couple minutes?
Yeah. So he gets an altercation. Somehow Paul's wife gets involved, and she realizes that Oleg is there with these molesters, and she goes and she saves Oleg, and she shoots those motherfuckers.
And we have to talk about that scene because she goes into their house, and it's so creepy. They have like a children's room that's like out at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you're a weird fuck, huh? And the lady's like, please leave.
Yeah.
And she's like, my kids are tired. And they actually have two kids in bed.
Yeah.
But then Vera Farmiga, who just has like incredible instincts, right before the lady closed the door on her, goes, no photos. No photos. She's like, if you had kids, you would have photos of them somewhere. One photo. She's like, and you don't. She just keeps going around the house, and the molesters are like perfectly cast. Like they feel very molesty. And
very
then
creepy and like
like
weird. Stepford Wild.
Yeah, like inhuman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes into one room and basically finds name tags for all these kids that they killed.
Yeah.
And she finds Oleg and resuscitates him.
And she finds an incinerator.
Yeah, that they burn the children.
She finds like meat cleavers and
shit. This is all we should talk about is this fucking scene in the movie. This scene is incredible. I've never seen any scene like this in a movie where like just out of nowhere you're like, wait, why are we here? Why are the weirdest people ever involved in this movie? Yeah. Yeah. Why did you write this?
It just got way more creepy. I imagine when Paul was reading that with his agent, and he's like, why not? What about another like beach movie? And he's like, nah.
City time.
Got to be a gritty New Jersey dude.
Yeah. Well, and then Vera Farmiga at the end of that scene kills the two molesters.
Yeah.
They're like, you won't do it. She has a gun, probably from Paul, and she shoots both of them.
And that's the other gun that was used in the shootout.
Oh,
and
really?
He's like, fuck. So he's doubly fucked. So
I can't believe she murdered those molesters.
It's a good move.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, so more things happen. We end up at an ice rink because the mob employs ice hockey players.
This is the other scene we got. Dude, that was so funny.
Yeah. The ice hockey players are like, dude, I just want to play for the NHL. And he's like, no, you got to help me with my dirty business.
So to torture Paul, what they do is they get all the players out to like, not the players on the hockey team, just like the players in the story, to the hockey rink. And then these like henchmen like pin Paul to the ground. And then they have like semi-pro hockey players that work for the mafia who come out fully padded up in a helmet on skates, and they hit hockey pucks into Paul's face.
Yeah.
That's how they torture him.
And there's blood everywhere. I'm like, you're going to mess up Paul's face?
Which was hinted at the beginning of the movie when he's going to take his kid to a hockey game and he says, red ice.
Yeah.
Red
Oh, yeah,
ice,
good
because
call.
they hit each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
From
only.
blood.
That was one qualm with the movie. I'd be like, don't fuck up Paul's face. Like maybe fuck up his kneecaps or something. Like
Absolutely.
just leave that face alone.
They fucked up the face a bit.
Yeah.
It's like, that's when he's like, you motherfucker, you piece of shit. And then somehow Paul, like, I don't even know if this was true, but he says Tommy was responsible for the gun thing because he was going to, like, do a hit on another mobster.
Yeah.
And then that mobster just believes Paul, and then they all start shooting each other.
Yeah. So there's Russians involved, you know, so you never know with that. And it was just, and then Paul emerges, but there's a twist at the end. Spoiler alert, stokers. So there's like one guy left, and he's like, he's the only guy left. Everyone else was killed in the shootout. And then he's like about to kill Paul, and Paul's like, you want to see something? And he rips open his shirt, and he's like, that's a wire. And it's a wire. He's like, I've been undercover for 12 years. My wife doesn't even know.
Makes no sense.
And you,
It makes no sense. He's literally, he, like, killed cops at the beginning.
yeah, he killed cops.
Yeah, like, you're undercover.
I'm like, why don't you just arrest these dudes then?
Yeah, I think you got enough evidence, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So turns out Paul was undercover for 12 years and then fakes his death. And
Well, because he gets shot by Lester the pimp. The pimp
Yeah.
shows up again in the third act, like little Chekhov's gun kind of thing.
yeah,
And he's like, you fucked with me, kid. And
Yeah.
he's going to kill the kid. And the pimp's like this like weirdo white guy. And then, yeah, Paul gets shot in the gut.
yeah. And then they make you think that Paul died.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't walk out at that point.
Well, I had to stay for the review.
Dude,
And
this is
I-
going to force you to
but-
take in sadness.
No, but dude, you know what? I had a feeling Paul was alive. I was like, they wouldn't do that.
Right.
They wouldn't end the movie like that. He was running scared. He's got to emerge victorious. He's Paul.
And he did.
Yeah.
And at the end, happy ending, they adopt Oleg.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess in summation, if I had to describe this movie, I would describe it as just a colossal amount of shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nonstop fucking crazy shit. I would say it's nonstop fucking crazy shit. That's my review.
Yeah. Nonstop.
Nonstop fucking crazy shit. If you wanted to see nonstop fucking crazy shit, see this fucking movie.
Yeah. You want to see some weird fucked up shit with Paul running and Paul being tough, and then creepy figures who get shot and molesters and stuff. It's a thriller, dude. Check it out.
If you want to see all the fucked up shit in the world and Paul Walker, this is the Paul Walker movie to see.
If you want to see Paul running scared, if you want to see Paul in a new light, see it.
Yeah. That's it.
I'd give it. Ow. I'd give it out of Paul movies. I give it a 6 out of 10.
I give it 6 out of 10. I agree. All right.
All right, that's it, Patrons. Thank you for being Patreons, and we'll see you guys later. Actually, welcome Patreon dudes to this special episode of Going Deep with Chad and JT. We are going to give a movie review of Paul Walker's Too Fast, Too Furious, one of my faves in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And it just, I love Miami. I love Paul in it. We get introduced to Tyrese. Luda is back. No, Luda is introduced. And, yeah, should we just give a rundown of the movie first?
Yeah, and what's interesting about this review is with the other Paul Walker films, because we weren't as deeply familiar with them, we watched them before we reviewed them. But with Too Fast, Too Furious, we've both seen it so many times, we just decided to review it based off our recollection. So I apologize if some of the details of the film are skipped over, but I'm actually kind of confident that that won't be the case.
Yeah, and the movie. So if you get the DVD, it starts off with an alternate intro, or not an alternate intro, just a prelude, connecting the first and the second one, and we see Paul traveling cross country, evading local authorities to get to Miami, and he's drag racing a bunch of people. He goes to New Orleans. He drag races these dudes to make money. Stays in different motels. Finds love along the way. I think he bones some chick in a motel, and then eventually finds his way to Miami, and like he has that trademark smile where he's just like beyond stoked. He's like, this feels like LA because there's sun, jet skis, and I'm stoked.
Nice.
And then, and then we find Paul, and he's in the local scene dominating. What do you know what the nickname they have for him is?
No, but he's like the Dominic Toretto of Miami.
Yeah.
Like the guy who can't be beat and who kind of has like an effortless confidence.
They call him Bullet.
Bullet?
They're like, oh shit, it's Bullet.
Great name.
Yeah. And he's on the scene dominating. We meet Suki. Ludacris is like running the scene. He's sort of like the MC. Because he hit a wall going $120, and he's like, I don't race anymore. Yeah, so Paul does a race, wins, but then gets caught by the cops, and they're like, if you want to stay out of jail, you got to help us out. Here's what you got to do. You got to infiltrate this drug lord. I forget his name.
It's played brilliantly by Cole Hauser, though.
Yeah.
He's like so greasy in it. He's always wearing like just like I'm a old guy at the club kind of suits.
Yeah, he's got like that evil smile where it's like he's not like an obvious monster, but you see in his eyes, he's like he could really fuck you up.
Yeah, absolutely. My brother does a great impression of him. He's like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
And then there's a scene where Cole Hauser realizes that this cop who used to be on his payroll isn't doing all the things for him that he used to. So he pulls him into a back room, and the guy's like been hooking up with chicks and like looks like just like kind of disheveled. And then he puts the guy on his back, and he puts a big pot on his stomach, and there's a rat inside of the pot. And he heats up the pot, and he's like, if you heat up a pot and a rat gets hot, it'll tear through metal. And then you just see the guy screaming like, ah, 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 and it's like ripping into his guts, and that's how they get the information.
Yeah.
Very creative way to torture people. I always like in a movie where they get creative with the torture.
And they had Eva Mendes, the drug lord doesn't know, but she's an undercover cop.
Right.
And he's like, hold his mouth. And like, then Paul, it's like an interesting moment where like, she looks at Paul, and Paul's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I got to do this. And she like puts her hands over his mouth, and the guy's like screaming, and she's like, shut up, you know?
And afterwards, Tyrese or Roman Reigns is like, did you see her eyes when she was doing that shit?
Yeah.
Did she look like she looked uncomfortable doing that shit? And
Yeah.
you're like, wow, so we don't know where she's at yet.
Interesting dynamic between Paul and Tyrese.
Dude, awesome. Dude, when I saw it in theaters, when Roman Reigns, Tyrese took his shirt off to bust the window on the car,
jacked.
the whole theater went, whoa!
Yeah.
600 dudes just went, yeah!
Dude, I remember that. And I'd say it's similar to our relation, you know, but I'd say Tyrese is a little bit more of a live wire.
I'm
Yeah.
Tyrese and you're
Am I Paul? Oh, thank you.
you're
dude.
Paul.
Oh.
You said a lot like our relation. You're just gonna make me Tyrese and you nobody.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But Paul, JT, you do have that kind of like, there's that side of
Wild
you that,
card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see you taking your shirt off and punching through a Ferrari window. So that
Which
makes
lets you know where my brain's at most of the time.
yeah, fuck you.
I could definitely punch through a Ferrari window shirtless.
Yeah, everyone's like screaming, they're like, "Oh, dude!" And then you're in the back, you're like, "I could do that way better."
Yeah, I'm like, wait till I do it, bitches.
Dude, we should recreate that.
Yeah, just recreate scenes from the movie. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's tough. They have to infiltrate, and then the drug lord, he thinks that they're actual just street racers. You know, he doesn't think they're working with the cops, and like, he's like, "You got to do a job for me." And they're like, all right, for sure, dude. Just as long as, you know. And then, like, the cops are, like, pressuring them to do all this shit, you know. And then, like, the drug lord gets, like, suspicious of them. And then, like, you know, like the cops pull up as they're, like, on, like, a drive.
Right. Are you talking about one of the earlier missions or the final mission?
In, like, the middle.
Yeah.
And then so Tyrese shoots at him.
Right.
To, like, show that he's with the bad guys. And then, so they meet up with the cop, and the cop's like, "You think you can shoot at me? I'm a goddamn federal officer." Yeah, and then he like
James Remar.
Yeah, he throws his gun away, and he starts like pushing. Which, you know, the dude's a lot scrawnier than Tyrese.
You know what line I do like at the end of that?
What?
Is where to settle it all,
Yeah.
to squash it.
Yeah.
Paul Walker just grabs the gun, hands it to the FBI, and goes, "And by the way, if Roman wanted to shoot you, you'd be shot."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so okay, so we're just gonna take on your word that this guy wasn't willing to shoot me.
Yeah,
It's a pretty risky move from Tyrese.
And then Tyrese, to really hammer it home, he takes the guy's sandwich, and the guy's like, "Hey, that's mine." He's like, "So?"
So?
And then
It's a close up too of his face, and he goes, "So?"
Yeah. And
I
then
don't give a shit.
And then one of the biggest bonding moments between Tyrese and Paul is when they're like, after that, he's like, man, some crazy shit's about to go down. Hey, Tyrese, why are you eating all the time? Man, when I was in jail, we didn't have good food. He's like, I figure it's not long before I head back in. So while I'm out, I'm going to eat all I can while I can. Plus, we hungry.
It's a powerful scene.
Yeah. And then they give that handshake. He's like,
because the relationship's like back on at that point. That's when you
Yeah.
finally trust him again.
yeah.
You know what my favorite line in the whole movie though is though?
What?
So the final like set piece, like the final getaway thing is really well done. Like they go into that home and then like there's all these cops chasing them.
Yeah.
Because the cops have been watching the place where the money is, and so they're racing away from the cops, and the cops are shooting like harpoons at them that like shut their cars down.
Yeah.
They have like cool gizmos and stuff, and then they orchestrate that great getaway where all the other street racers like distract the cops so they don't know who's who. And Paul Walker and Tyrese earlier in the movie put Nas under the passenger seat because the
Yeah.
main bad guy has a henchman riding with each of them in their separate cars. And they don't really explain what it is, but they hit a button that the henchman thinks is Nas, but it actually shoots the seat out of the car
Yeah.
to get them free of the henchman. And Tyrese hits the button, then he goes, "Ejecto Cedo, cuz!"
My favorite line.
It's the best line, right?
Yeah.
Ejecto Cedo, cuz. It's really brilliant. Because I don't know. Here's what's impossible to know about that line.
Yeah.
Did the screenwriter write Ejecto Cedo, cuz? Or did Tyrese improvise that?
We got to ask Tyrese.
I gotta think it's Tyrese coming up with that.
Because he's so stoked, and then he's like, and then he goes, ha ha, love this button.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck yeah.
If the screenwriter came up with that line, Ejecto Cedo, cuz, get him the Oscar.
Yeah.
Get him the best original screenplay. Well, is it best adapted? No, it's best original, even though it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing about Too Fast, Too Furious, just some more general commentary. The first Fast and the Furious is more realistic. The second one, Too Fast, Too Furious, it becomes almost like a video game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the first one, there's an intense drag race, but they're land bound. In the second one, they put up a bridge
Yeah.
so that they launch, 800 feet, like 2 football fields?
Yeah. Yeah, in my opinion, I would say that they started that trend of going. They just like kept going more and more aggro with the stunts and stuff. I'm like, dude, just let it be.
It's a
like,
disease of a lot of sequels.
yeah, it's like just let it be. You don't need to heighten it that much. I'm cool with the original. You know.
I think they perfected it with 5.
Yeah, but I think
Still
that
too
they're
crazy
going-
town?
No, 5 was good, but then like the last one, the submarines and stuff. I'm like, dudes.
They're getting more and more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because the set piece at the end of 5, when they drag the safe, is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a really cool scene.
Yeah. So,
Ava Mendes, though?
babe. And Paul falls for her?
I mean, Jordana Brewster is a babe above babes, but if you were going to find another love interest for Paul, Ava Mendes is above and beyond as well. She was great, and she's a good actress. I like her in movies. She's very good.
Yeah. Yeah, when they drag race the two dudes, Fonzie.
Yeah.
That's intense because Paul plays an intense game of chicken with the guy, and the guy, he's like, haha, all right, Blondie, let's see what you got. Let's see if you got the balls. And then like they're coming at it, and Paul's just like, he like maintains this like face of just like, I'm fucking doing this, and the guy, you can tell he wants to be in it, but you can see the apprehension on his face. He's just like,
Right.
and then he pulls off, and Paul just
Brilliant faces there.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thank you. I can move a lot.
I
That
like-
was a sweet race.
Yeah, because it's another scene where like Paul's like upgraded to like kind of Dom Toretto status from number 1.
Yeah.
The other greatest scene in the movie. Driving fast while staring at the girl.
Oh, the stare and drive. I've always wanted to do that.
I've wanted to do that. Dude, I'm so on the same page as you.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I've always wanted to do. Yeah. For sure.
It seems like she would just get really pissed off during that.
My girlfriend would slap the fuck out of me. She'd be like, you make me feel unsafe. You make me feel unsafe.
And he's smiling too.
Yeah. I've also been in like 13 car accidents. I for sure just fucking torpedo into some minivan with 2 kids.
So you're no bully.
"Ah, what happened? Oh, I was trying to be sexy for my girlfriend.
You just T-bone some car.
Yeah, or a fucking pedestrian does a fucking 540 over the top of my car.
Dude, if we ever did it like a movie, we have to do that.
Do a scene where like
where
we're
you-
trying to do that and I just fucking crash through.
All right, guys.
That's our review.
That will be it for our movie review of Too Fast, Too Furious. We're going to review Into the Blue, starring our boy Paul Walker, Jessica Alba, Scott Conn, and this hot blonde, and Josh Brolin. What was your? How'd you like it, JT?
So I had seen it a couple years ago and I didn't enjoy it as much then, but revisiting it, I really had a lot of fun. It has a lot of aspects in it that I look for in fun action movies. And one of the things that I really liked about it was like just the technical achievement of it. Like they shoot so much of it underwater, and there's not a lot of movies that take place like 40% underwater, and Into the Blue does. And still, you can keep up with it spatially, you know what's going on. And it's just beautiful imagery watching those sinewy bodies float through the water.
For sure. And, it was an intense movie. It was action packed, but I think one of the biggest things that made me feel is like, wow, summer. I love summer. I love islands. I love warm water, warm temperatures, bronzing, and, strong friendships. I'd say it was really fun, and it showed Paul in a way that was different from Fast and the Furious, but I think expanded our view of him. They're like, wow, he really is that good of a dude, because even in these circumstances, he was so heroic and just so much more of a better dude. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he's definitely like one of the moral pillars of the film. And I also found it interesting that he was willing to there was moments where he agreed to sell drugs, because what happens is, if you haven't seen it, is he's like a sea-bearing professional in the Bahamas, and then his rich buddy Scott Conn comes to visit, and they go out with their with Jessica Alba, who's Paul Walker's girlfriend, and works with dolphins and is good in the water. And then Scott Conn's super hot girlfriend from New York, who he apparently just met. And they discover some shipwreck stuff, like some gold from the pirate ship, the Zephyr, that's worth gajillions, and it supposedly has real gold, bars as a part of it. And then at the same time, they also find a bunch of cocaine that came from a crashed plane at the top of the film. And Paul Walker at one point agrees to sell some of the coke so that they can get a better boat to get the shipwreck stuff. And I was like, wow, this guy's a great guy, but he's also willing to do what it takes to get what he wants.
yeah, that really humanized him. I think he was, and one of the most heartwarming things was about the love story between him and Jessica. It's just their bond was so strong, and there were times, when he was tempted to sell drugs, Scott was like, dude, she'll leave you if you don't have money. And that made Paul really think. He's like, will she leave me if I don't have money? He really thought about it. And she came in, bam, I'm not that girl. I love you for you, Paul. And I'll stay with you no matter what. And so, I just love how that evolved throughout the story. And then at the end, Paul realizes, he doesn't even need treasure. He doesn't even need the Zephyr. He just needs Jessica.
It's romantic as fuck.
Super romantic, and just, I hope to find that kind of love one day.
Yeah, I think she'd be more likely to leave him if he lost that V.
Yes.
If he lost those abs.
Yes. If he became doughy and just a shell of his former self, she'd be like, this is worse than not having money.
Yeah.
Later.
And they have that poor lifestyle in the film that's actually super appealing.
Yeah.
He has a shanty house on the water, but it's on the water in the Bahamas. So you're like, well, that still property value wise is probably upwards of $2 million.
Yeah.
They also did that in Lethal Weapon, where the Mel Gibson Riggs character lives on Malibu coast in a RV. And then by the fourth film, it's an RV that's built into a house as well. You're like, okay, well, this, grunt cop is actually living in a $10 million hacienda. And then Paul has a dock and a rundown house, but you're like, I mean, it's probably in a gated community. I mean, do you have like full-time security too? Like, what the fuck? I thought you were supposed to be poor.
Props for staying humble, but who paid for that shit, dude?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're really struggling. By the way, we live on the coast with a dock.
Yeah, it's tough lifestyle as a diver.
Yeah. I keep getting fired. Yeah, he gets fired in the beginning for shoving his boss into the water because his boss is a douche.
Yeah.
I always like it when the main character has so much integrity that he can't swallow his anger and he's a total liability at work.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he's lost like 50 jobs.
Yeah. Do you get fired again? Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah, and she's like, well, I love you for you. It's like, well, your boyfriend's kind of a moron. Doesn't know that you're not supposed to shove your boss when he's being a dick about like how there's not enough. You know, like we've all had bosses who are like, hey, you were supposed to take care of this. And you're like, I did what you told me. And they're like, no, you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do it. And you're like, well, you didn't explain it right. But you don't shove them into the ocean every time they do that.
Yeah, that's not looking back on it, that was actually a really risque move.
Yeah, like what if the guy slips, hits his head, bleeds out everywhere?
Yeah. Why'd you lose your job? Well, technically I killed my boss.
Yeah.
He was being a dick and I just shoved him. I didn't know he'd run into some urchins down below.
He didn't know how to fall. He fell like an idiot.
He fell head first like a fucking... It's like, don't be on a boat if you don't know how to fall.
I blame him completely.
I love you for you.
Yeah, I think he also would have ended up in a jail that was on the coast that had boats. So, I hate my life in jail. As he's like sunbathing and drinking a pina colada.
Dude, I'm gonna go out on the limb here and say Scott Conn, not a good bro.
No, he's also not a good bro. He keeps like throwing them into trouble, and also maybe one of the worst boyfriends in history.
Yeah, and like at one point he's like, well, to start off, they're like all happy looking for treasure, and he pulls Jessica Alba and Paul aside. He's like, she's not getting a cut, and he's like, why? He's like, I've known her for like 3 days, dude. And they're like, all right, and then she dies.
She gets her leg bit off by a shark and dies.
Super heavy. I thought it was just gonna be like a minor injury, and then they're like, nah, she's dead, dude. And Scott's like, whatever, I don't care. And Paul's like, you don't care? He's like, I knew her for like 5 days.
Yeah.
Lay off.
Yeah. He like gets mad at them for them being mad at him for not caring enough. It's also like, is anyone gonna call her parents or like next of kin? Like they kind of just dropped that thread.
Yeah, like,
dude, she's dead, but I've only been banging her for a week, so it's not really my job to let her parents know that she died on my watch.
The hospital's like, who's the husband? Oh, I've just been banging her for 5 days. I'm sorry. Oh, it sucks. All right, later.
Yeah, it sucks because it sucks, but it was also kind of nice because I was gonna have to break up with her, and now that's kind of like taken care of by the Grim Reaper. And
now I get the full cut of the loot. So and they get the loot at the end, and she definitely didn't get it because she was dead as fuck.
And the movie's kind of like hard on yeah, Scott Conn in the end suffers no consequences for being a lying, conniving, sniveling friend. He just like finds a gold and he's like, yes, it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. I'm glad I have a gambling addiction. I'm glad my girlfriend died, and I'm glad I lied to my best friends because now I have gold bars. Did I have to kill people to get it? Absolutely. But for greatness, you got to sacrifice.
Should be like, and then I like how like Paul's like, what the hell, bro? You put me in this terrible position. Now these drug dealers are after me. Jessica's in jeopardy, and your girlfriend's dead. He's like, that was you. That was all you. I mean, you were the one thinking it, okay? I said the words, but you were thinking it, and you agreed to it, okay? So don't fucking come at me, and just fucking don't come at me, Paul. And he's like, what? Like,
yeah, the ending of the movie should have been like him and Scott Conn shaking hands, and he was like, I'm going to give you some money, and then I need you to get the fuck out of my life. Yeah. You are toxic. You are a toxic friend. All right, you are bad for me. Like, they come in and they just like wrestle right off the bat, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then I'm like, aren't these, like, how old are they in the movie? Are they 35?
I think 29. She says 29, yeah.
And then I also like that they make you not like the girlfriend, like Scott Conn's girlfriend that dies because like she's greedy, and they also just keep labeling her like a coke whore. Yeah. They're like, look, if you do coke, your life worth is 0. All right, in this movie's morality. I wonder. She got her leg bit off. She does coke. Okay, it was gonna happen.
Yeah, she flirted with Tyson Beckford.
Yeah, supermodel.
I love how If for you, if your girlfriend was flirting with Tyson, would you go and square up to him, or would you be like, touche?
Well, yeah, and if he was a drug dealer like he was in the movie, I think I'd just be like, babe, I think you've had a few too many adios motherfuckers. Like, yeah, he's a charming guy, but let's hit the road and have a quiet night at home, okay? Before I have to, like, you know, machete two of his henchmen who are trying to get second dibs, all right? Like, I'm not jealous. I'm being reasonable.
Baby, put me in a, this is the Bahamas. We don't just settle differences with a handshake. You get a machete and a ship, and you really fuck people up. So don't put me in this position, please.
Yeah, and also, like, Josh Brolin's like, yeah, I got a fake boat company. What I really do is murder drug dealers.
And sell a shitload of coke.
I sell a lot of blowski.
Dude, I was really jealous of his hair, I gotta say.
Brolin looked great, dude. He was ripped.
Yeah, he's bronzed, ripped. Great facial hair, too.
He's a good bad guy. He's
Yeah.
a very good bad. I mean, he's obviously the best actor in the movie, besides Paul.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the second best actor in the movie besides Paul.
Yeah.
Paul's abs were the best actor in the movie.
Yep.
And then, what else?
I wrote some notes down, too.
Yeah, I
while
wrote some
watching.
notes too.
I was just like summarizing what I saw. I go, plane crash, dealing with whack boss, Josh Brolin, old timey legend, Paul and Jessica suck face. He tells Josh, "I'm my own dude. Lay off." Scott Conn. I thought that was a really riveting scene when Scott Conn reveals that he actually has no money, and
Yeah.
Paul really laid out the anger there. It was really raw emotions.
Should have told me.
You should have told me.
I think I got some notes too. As a wave runner aficionado, I really love the jet skiing.
Oh yeah, that was really heartwarming.
The boys are just shredding up behind the boat
Yeah,
before, sharks start biting coke whores.
yeah.
It was a more innocent time.
That's the fun and games part of the movie.
I would have liked to have seen them jet ski right after the coke whore got her leg bit off. Woo!
Scott and Paul.
Just doing backflips.
Scott, you bummed? Nah. Dude, and they were doing huge tricks.
Oh yeah.
Who knew they could do like Olympic style jet skiing?
I watched it with Strider.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
In like in between his 2 hours of working for Benihana's and then working for his girlfriend. And his focus was waning a little bit. But he also he had some critical comments. He's like, it doesn't even have a plot. Like, it's just like lifestyle porn. I was like, I would just say it takes its time. All right. It luxuriates in the moment. Sorry, it's not in a hurry like you are, Strider, all the time to get to work, to
Yeah.
get to your girlfriends. This is a movie about people at the beach, dude. They're going to move a little bit slower than you're used to.
He's so much less relaxed.
Yeah.
You can't even watch a good movie.
She's like, can we just get to the third act? Can we just get to like the climax? I'm like, no, bro, because we got to like swim.
Yeah, there's a fun and games part of the movie, which is why we watch the movie.
Yeah. Let's.
According to sources.
Yeah.
How was
Sick.
Strider? How do you look?
He looks good. I mean, he looks like, 15 years older than us because he's been working,
Yeah.
which will like, it's a line from the band Andrew McMahon where he says, a face can change if a soul knows fear.
He wasn't drinking iced tea, was he?
No, I think he was having like some like what's it called?
Snapple.
No. Yeah. Yeah, he was drinking Snapple.
Damn it.
He didn't even look at the Snapple fact either because he says he already knows them all from all the Snapples he's drank.
Dude, what's with him and like acquiring knowledge? It's really annoying.
Yeah. Well, it's all like, he's like, I know what a IRA is now. I'm like, Irish Republic Army? He's like, no, like in a Rash account, like where I put my money. And I was like, talking about the devil's math?
Yeah.
I'm not into that shit, dude. Watch Into the Blue with me, dog.
What's with me?